New Nigeria People's Party, NNPP, has hit back at a recent report suggesting that its national leader, Senator Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso, engaged in discussions to defect to the ruling All Progressives Congress. In a statement issued this week, the party dismissed the claims as blatant lies and insisted that Kwankwaso never held talks with President Bola Tinubu or any APC representatives about joining the ruling party.
The denial comes amidst political chatter following the defection of Kano State Governor Abba Kabir Yusuf from the NNPP to the APC, a move that sparked speculations about the wider realignments ahead of the 2027 general elections. NNPP officials have also condemned the reports as a deliberate attempt to undermine Kwankwaso's image and distract from the party's plans, stressing that his last meeting with President Tinubu was in 2024 and did not involve any discussions of defection. Join us this morning to unpack this and more as a spokesperson of NNPP, Mr. Ladipo Johnson. A warm welcome to you, Mr. Johnson, and thanks for joining us on Breakfast Central. Yeah, Mr. Johnson.
Thank you. Good morning to you all.
Good morning. Quite a lot has happened since the last time a lot of water, as they say, has passed under the bridge. We've seen defection of the Kano State Governor. I mean, we know the significance of Kano State in the mathematical calculations in Nigeria's electioneering process, and how weighty is it? What's really going on in NNPP, and what's the position of Senator Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso as we speak this morning? Is he staying or is he joining the ruling APC?
Thank you, and good morning once more. As you said, a lot has happened. Of course, you know that we had issues going back and forth with the governor, Abba Kabir Yusuf, but at the end of the day, he decided to move to the APC, and that has happened. The party is doing its best to make sure that we're still staying on track towards 2027. That means, as I had told you before, the party at the national level was holding talks with various organizations, political parties, people, etc. And that is still on. Definitely, there's a slight dent in Kano, and they will have to reorganize before the elections. But there's no doubt that a large majority of the Kwankwaso movement and NNPP have stayed behind, because what you find is that or what happened actually was that at a stage, the local government chairman, councillors, etc., some of the State House of Assembly members reported to Senator Kwankwaso and some of the leadership that they were being coerced, told to show that they were loyal to the governor, etc. And it was at that time that Senator Kwankwaso said to them that, look, if you're under pressure, then go. You recall that there was a time they said he had done a U-turn and had supported the movement to the APC, and we said, no, that was not what happened. Well, having done that, a lot of the elected officials and some of the appointed officials have followed the governor into the APC, because they don't want a witch hunt or what have you. Senator Kwankwaso was like, okay, you can go. Elections around the corner anyway. We're in election stretch. So we'll come back to talk about how the elections will go in 2027. So that is the situation. And as I said, at the national level, we're still on track. Regarding how Senator Kwankwaso is or what he's doing now, yes, he felt deeply disappointed, betrayed. As you know, he has had a long-standing relationship with Abba Kabir Yusuf, who happens to be his in-law. So they've been, since '99, Yusuf The governor was his PA, and then they went to the Ministry of Defense together, went to the NDDC together, went to, I believe, the Senate together. No, not to the Senate, but when he came back as governor again, second term, he made him the principal private secretary, and after 2 years, made him appointed him commissioner for works. So, and he felt that it was more assuring to have an Abba Kabir Yusuf than what happened with Ganduje, after what happened with Ganduje, which has proven to be wrong now. So you wonder who you can trust in politics, as they say. So that is the situation now. And of course, he is about to make his next move towards 2027. And we wait to see what that will be.
Okay, just to clarify, there is no talks, there have been no talks about moving to the APC, is that correct?
Yes, I had to issue that statement. Then I had to ask him. This was on Saturday. I asked him, I said, look, we saw in the papers yesterday, Friday, I don't want to mention the newspaper, and I know you all know. And they said that he had demanded 20%, demanded this, demanded that. I had to ask him, have you sat, because he kept telling us he hadn't sat with the president. Have you sat with him lately? He said, no. Now, the last time they sat together was January 2024. I said, did you discuss defection? He said, no. You know, and you will recall, I don't want to mention the name because I don't want someone to start saying, oh, Ladipo Johnson said this. You will recall that when one of the first movements we had from one of the prominent members of the House of Reps took place, he moved and said, oh, yes, President Tinubu, this and that. And I asked Senator Kwankwaso then. It was in the afternoon. I went to his residence. And he said to me, he said, I'm not a baby. You can't be negotiating behind me. So you see, we have had people within the NNPP, some were not even Kwankwaso members, who came. He was able to make sure he delivered the tickets to them. They won on the platform of the NNPP/Kwankwaso. You remember the Senator Ishmaila and others. And after doing that, I think they're back to where they belong, which is the APC. So that mistake happened, I believe, now with hindsight. But at that time, of course, he was forming a coalition. And because these individuals had issues with Ganduje in the APC at that time, they came over in Kano to join the NNPP. And they won their elections. And now they went back. And you can't blame anyone if he believes in President Tinubu.
Okay.
With them.
I wanted to follow up to the question that I asked you, and thank you for clarifying that you actually sat with Alhaji Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso and clearly asked him if he had sat with the president. He said he hadn't sat with him since 2024. Where did these rumors emerge from? I did see where, I don't know if that statement is attributed to you, where it was said that this rumor was probably started by those who wanted to preempt his movement or those who themselves wanted to move to the APC. So I wanted to ask if you can share with us where you think these rumors came from.
That's exactly what I was trying to say, that it would seem, it's conjecture, it would seem that because we kept one at that time, where this story coming from? Oh, they met at the villa, oh, it's almost this and that, they were in presidential. And whenever I asked him, he'd say, no, no one had the president, not top APC member. So when this all happened, after the movement of the governor of Kano, and I saw articles, some is a local job, I say he deserves what happened, this and that, oh, in this, very reasonable. Would sit say give 50% of this.
Unfortunately, network connection issues there. Can you still hear us, sir? Are you there?
I can hear you.
Okay,
I can
great.
hear
All
you.
right,
Can you hear me?
Okay,
Now we
yes,
can.
yes, we could hear you. I just want to quickly...
Yeah,
go on.
Go on and complete your thoughts,
no,
Mr.
I
Johnson.
was just rounding that up. Yes, in fact, if he had said that, it would have been unreasonable. But the man didn't say that.
Okay.
And he didn't sit with any of that. So that's the issue. So we see now that there is this move to make people believe, oh, he's unreasonable, he's this, he's that, he's a hardliner, he's selfish. I read sorts this morning as well. People are taking that story from that newspaper and running with it, drawing conclusions. And that is why we felt, okay, it's important. You won't get as many people reading this, but at least some people will see that, oh, he actually didn't sit with them. And there is this sort of, I call it a conspiracy, to make sure that he is demarketed, as we say, moving towards 2027. But it's all good. It's politics.
Okay, I know this name is a name that you wouldn't want to hear because the last time we mentioned that name here, you showed your unhappiness with it. But then again, it is what it is, like we usually say. The NNPP, like you always mentioned, has no faction. But again, the name Mr. Boniface is back again in the news this time, citing clearly that he is also a member of the NNPP and celebrating the move of the governor. He's saying that the governor had to leave because of Senator Kwankwaso. Most importantly, he said the governor did not leave because he was selfish, but he left because he just wanted to do what he has to do for the people of Kano. Do you in any way have any fears that this could also start to become what we see in Rivers State, where there's a divide, where the governor is now leading his own team, and then Rabiu Kwankwaso is also trying as much as possible to hold on to the state as well, bearing in mind that you do have by-elections coming up, especially on February 21.
Yes. Well, there are three parts to this. The first thing is, if you look at the first stage of Bonnie or one of his acolytes released, it was that the governor has moved from the Kwankwaso, not from the NNPP. You understand? And I remember we sat down, Buba Galadima and Senator Kwankwaso, and I was like, is this man all right? The man says he's gone to the APC, and you say he hasn't moved from the NNPP, he's moved from Kwankwaso. The second message is the one you said. You just said out now that he moved because of Senator Kwankwaso or whatever. But all you need to know is that Boniface Anebunam and his cohorts would do anything, you know, if you told them today were the 3rd of February, that Senator Kwankwaso says today is the 3rd of February, they'd say, no, it isn't, you know, so we're used to that. He's still not happy about everything that happened, and it's understandable. But the other parts, when you say that couldn't it be like Rivers, I don't think so, you know, because the governor has left, he's left, and we are still in the party. So it's just like the odd type when we were in the, when I think we were in the APC, and we felt we had to move out because of what happened with President Buhari and everything. And Governor Ganduje remained at that time, and he remained in the APC, and we moved on. And we prepared without any sitting officers, no councillor, no member of the House, nothing. And we won Kano from there, even though it was a government which was part of the government at the center, part of the party at the center. We were able to win. And that is what we said in all humility. And you know why? Because I might not get this in. It's not about Kwankwaso, it's not about NNPP or the Kwankwaso. It's about the people of Kano, which of course, after we said that, then Mr. Governor and Sanusi Bature now started to say he's moving for the people of Kano. But you see, he didn't consult with them. He didn't. And the people out there are saying that, look, we told you we wanted you because we had 8 years of Ganduje and we didn't believe in what the APC did for 8 years. We gave you this mandate, stood by you to the Supreme Court, and now on a platter of gold, you've gone to give it back to them. And they said they'll wait for him at the elections. And it's happened before in Kano. You know, we're talking about late Rimi and all the others. It's happened. Kano is, I don't want to use the word volatile. Kano is different when it comes to politics.
Okay.
They're politically, the masters are politically intelligent. And it shows in their voting pattern.
And talking about the politics in Kano, I know you don't have a crystal ball in front of you, but all doesn't seem to do well. In Paradise, you have your principal, Mr. Kwankwaso. He's not in good terms with his political godson. His political godson has led the platform that got him to power, NNPP, and decided to jump ship with the ruling All Progressive Congress. How much of a political shift, of a seismic shift, will that be in the 2027 elections and calculations? Does it mean that all NNPP votes would automatically swing towards the ruling party, since the number one, the 001 in Kano, is now a member of the ruling APC? Will Alhaji Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso still hold that influence and sway that he used to have, knowing that his political godson has defected to the ruling APC?
Well, the answer is yes, he'll still hold that sway. And I say it in all humility. You will recall, I think a day or two after the governor defected, there was this visits from members of the Nasarawa local government. And Nasarawa is where you have government house, some GRA-like area, you understand, that local government, out of the 44 local governments. My brother, the crowd that came to Miller Road, that's Kwankwaso's residence, was more than the crowd at the Coronation Hall when the governor was defected. That was from one local government. You see, as I said earlier, it isn't, I'm glad it happened now and not closer to the elections. It happened now. If it had happened some 2 months to elections, then I'm sure the state would have dropped. But now I know for certain now, again in humility, by God's special grace, I know that wherever we are, whatever we are at that time, when I say whatever we are, that means the NNPP or Kwankwaso movement. Whatever, because there's still a possibility of a merger, an alliance, or whatever. Whatever we are, I believe that the people of Kano, already the sentiments are flowing. They feel disappointed, betrayed by the governor and those who have gone with him, because they had this thing about the APC and about the facts that inflation, etc., that is there in the north. So I think the way the politicians think is different from the way the masses think. You know, I especially regarding the situation in the country, the economic and situation and security, etc. But time will tell. And as I say, I know that things might still happen regarding whether we'll be in an alliance or we're moving anywhere or whatever with anyone. But whichever way we move, whatever we do, will still determine Kano in all humility, because it isn't about us. They have a system there. It's about the people there. And let me say something very quick. You will, for everyone that is given a ticket and contests for House of Assembly or House of Reps, you can be sure that there are about 20 other people who want the same seat. So yes, we've lost those who were in that team. Some of them, we've lost them as per moving with the governor. But I assure you that those constituencies within the shortest, In fact, Senator Kwankwaso made a statement the other day. He said most of the assembly people or House of Reps cannot even go into their constituencies to rally people around because it was the system that picked them. They were not, you understand, they have this collegiate system of politics in Kwankwaso and in the NNPP now, and in Kano. That is the system they operate. The leaders in the area will come and say, look, this is the man we want for House of Assembly, this is the one we want for reps. Because you see, you may have heard this, Senator Kwankwaso doesn't spend much money when it comes to politics. He doesn't spend much money, especially within the party. He won't. If you want to come for the rally, come. They will mobilize you. So all those crowds you see, I always tell my friends, when I go to Kano and they see the crowds, I say they don't pay them. They come. They're passionate people. So it's different, but we'll see what will happen.
Okay. Thank you so much, Senator Ladipo Johnson, for speaking with us. And we do wish the NNPP well as we proceed, and most importantly, ahead of the by-elections as well. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.